Just a few days ago, late on a quiet Sunday morning in a little forest, the kind of forest that was just sort of left over when the people who remove forests want to show that they still like trees and sort of give the impression that the forest is still there. No one was there. It was just a little clearing in a littler forest between a few spruce trees next to a gnarly-looking bush that had probably been dead for a long time but was still somehow standing. Honestly, I don't know why we were even talking about it. There was no one there. Never mind, actually. Now that you looked closely, there was someone there. Weird. Lee Serafini had clearly been in the clearing all along. They looked around, frowning, adjusted their sequined silver vests, and checked their watch, turned to the right, and started walking. Seconds later, they emerged from the woods behind a 4-foot-high chain-link fence surrounding the backyard of one of Handfast's most luxurious and available vacant homes, where the rest of the forest had been in the times before. Then they were inside the fence, which was strange because you didn't see them climb it, and then they were holding a thick pile of glossy brochures detailing the history of the house, along with several different bulleted lists highlighting particularly interesting details like the granite countertops and the couple sinks in the primary bathroom. You definitely didn't see all of those brochures before. Hold on. Lee was inside the house. How could they? When did they? Who did? Never mind. Lee Serafini, real estate agent extraordinaire, had a very important job to do. It was open house day, the real estate agent's Super Bowl. They placed their stack of brochures down on the tasteful library table they'd installed in the entryway for just such an occasion, fanning them out invitingly. And then they were in the living room, tying back the blackout curtains and delicately shaping the shears to create a dramatic framing effect. And then they were adjusting the sample place settings in the dining room for symmetry. They had learned thousands of years ago in the burning demon wars of unending turpitude that it was important to pay attention to the tiniest of details, lest a 30-foot-tall spider monster with eyes the color of pure despair sneak in through the shadows and defenestrate your roommate. At that moment they were, however, satisfied that the first floor was presentable. And then they were on the second floor, standing in the entryway of the primary bathroom, staring at the broken mirror over the couple sinks that had certainly not been broken yesterday. They frowned harder and jumped slightly as a series of loud, distinctly glassy, popping sounds burst forth behind them. Lee turned slowly, hand drifting into the space that was not, in case quick action was needed, and saw the windows of the primary bedroom of this beautiful home breaking in place one by one, as if an invisible hand was tapping them with an equally invisible sledgehammer. Lee was fairly confident that this was not normal, and they were concerned. So concerned, in fact, that they felt compelled to suddenly be in the kitchen of H.H. Holmes Memorial High, just out of sight of the student body. Jerry! Jerry! Is it normal for glass to, break? This is bonus against the machine. More pot for your bod. Sponsored by Charlie the Lizard Folks Chicken Emporium. More cluck for your buck.
Okay, so it's my turn, and you would think this is the fourth time I've done this now that I would be better at it, but here we are. Hey everyone, it's me, Izzy. Welcome back to the McFyb, or Jimmy Fame presents more pod for your bod. I already feel like I'm forgetting something. Sponsored by Charlie the Lizard Folks Chicken Emporium, more cluck for your buck. I don't feel confident about that run, but that's what we got. Yeah, no, I'm getting a lot of head shakes.
Legal says it counts.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, welcome back. We're playing some more Monster of the Week, Michael Sands' game. This is the one shot that has only taken us a couple shots. Dream away the time. We join our... Oh, say hi, everyone. Come on, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, we did the thing. We made that same joke for episode 3, which I did have time to listen to today. You're welcome. What happened last time? We did some recovering from blown up hands with a therapeutic meatloaf dip. Everyone took a nap and recovered some HP or whatever harm points is what they're called in Monster of the Week. The next morning, the gang split up. Jerry and Zeke. Hang on, let me check my notes. Jerry and Zeke, yes, went to the Tilly residence to look after Max Tilly, the young child who had a business card for some reason and had also disappeared the night before. They found out, that his parents live in a 2-story Victorian mid-century Gothic modern home. And there is an exploded bathroom in there. There's a toilet that is ruptured in the kitchen due to Jerry's failed role. However, Zeke did get to go up to the bedroom of the missing child and found a trail of what looks like pixie dust, hinting at the girl whose name we now know is Violet, having been there and taken the child away. We found a little bit more about that with our other half of the team. Was Dawn and Lee went into the forest to chase after the girl. They couldn't find the stone ring, but they did find the girl. Who told them her name was Violet. Coincidentally, the person who had disappeared nearly 40 years ago to the day from the Chilton family. John and, let's say, Paris Chilton. That's not my joke. That's Jeff's joke from last episode.
Still hits.
Let's see. We left them having discussed with Violet that someone named Uberon had taken Max away because the town of Handfast didn't hold up their end of the bargain. I believe that's about as much we found out before Bone Crusher, the Red Cap, was summoned for what he calls a rematch. And that is where we are now. What you gonna do, team? What you gonna do? You're all split up. Oh no.
Oberon. That's a name I haven't heard in quite some time. That's like I'm not even present for the fight.
Well, you would think, having had several weeks or no time at all to plan out exactly what we were going to do, that we would have such a plan. That was the end of my sentence.
I would think that.
I mean, Don's plan is to scream out pocket sand and throw silica gel at this thing. So he's got that going for him.
Well, Lee actually does have a plan for Bone Crusher as hostilities are beginning, because last episode Lee leveled up thanks to our extremely generous experience rules. And they chose a move from a different playbook, a move called the Big Entrance. So now Lee is really throwing away some plausible deniability here, because Lee, normally speaking, is, not a super imposing person. They're, no matter how tall you are, they're about 2 inches shorter than you and just sort of slightly built and very pleasant looking and not scary in the slightest. But in this moment, Lee, I think, is sort of floating about 6 inches off the ground with their hands out to the side, their hands which are, of course, or their arms, the entirety of their being covered in glowing eyes, and in their right hand is just an absolutely enormous, like gold and ivory glowing hammer that is taller than they are. The head of the hammer looks like it weighs about 180 pounds, so it doesn't make sense that they would even be able to hold it. And as they're floating up in the air and staring at Bone Crusher, I don't have a speech prepared. It says you make a speech. I'm going to roll plus cool to see what...
to skip speech.
How cool of a speech I have to come up with for Bone Crusher. So with my cool, that is a 5, a 2, and a +1 from the cool, which is 7 to 9. On 7 to 9, you pick one person or monster to stop, watch, and listen until you finish talking. So I think in this moment, with Bone Crusher transfixed on Lee's glowing, floating, hammer-wielding visage, they begin to recite the real estate code, just like every thing that they needed to learn to get their real estate license, just like going straight through it bullet by bullet as if they were just reading a manual, except that their eyes, all several hundred of their eyes, are locked on Bone Crushers, and Bone Crusher is distracted.
Yeah, Bone Crusher is transfixed by the rules of real estate. He's actually in escrow right now for his own home in Handfast and has been pretty confused by what that means because everyone just says in escrow and no one has a great sense of when you're out of escrow, how one enters or exits escrow. It's just the word. So he's distracted. That leaves an opening for your companion, Dawn, to do a thing.
Yeah. I think Dawn is gonna kick some A. I believe. Would that be considered fighting, tossing the desiccant onto it that we learned about?
So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to...
He is going to attempt to, while this thing is distracted and not looking at him, instead it's looking at Lee, he is going to attempt to get a little bit closer and then try to toss this bag full of desiccant powder onto it and hope that it does something to it based on the information that we've learned.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to call that a... Is that kick some A or act under pressure? Let's say it's act under pressure.
Act under pressure?
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, that actually might be better for me because I think my... Oh, no, my cool is actually slightly worse than my tough.
Aw, you hate to see it.
Yeah. But he's going to make a roll. And it's 2d6, correct?
2d6.
I played this. Yeah. And then it'll be minus... Well, that is not great. Those are both 5s, and I have a -1, so that is a 9, which, let me look at my book. On a 10 plus, yeah, so on a 7 plus, you and, no, that's the wrong one. On a 7 to 9, the keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay, it says.
All right. So I'm going to give you a hard choice. I'm going to say you can take the harm that's coming to you, or you can, let's see, lose your pack of desiccant salts.
Yeah.
Powder.
I think it's more important for him that we can, if this doesn't work, that he can keep trying to pour it onto this thing's hat and get this to work. So he is going to hang on to it and is just gonna take the hit when I'm assuming this thing is gonna flail out at him from doing this. So he will take the hit.
Yeah, so he was doing pretty well with your distraction, Sam, Lee. And it was close enough for Don to get in there and throw this little pack of salts. At the very last minute, he kind of catches you over his shoulder and turns around with lightning quick reflexes and catches you with the pole axe, which again is a 3 harm, I believe, which is just so many harms.
Ooh, that's too many.
It's a lot of harms. Yep. Yeah. So go ahead and take your 3 harm.
Yep.
But you kept your desiccant powders.
Yeah. And does it look like it did anything to the hat? Does it look like it dried it up a little bit at all?
It looks like, let's see. It looks drier. We are going to kick off this little combat-y thing by having already kicked it off. So, Bone Crusher has just made an attack. He's going to now turn to Lee and just sort of growl at him and charge forth with some teeth. Teeth? How about claws? So that's going to be 1 harm at you, and you can fight back with your kick some butt.
All right, so what I'm hearing is no harm at Lee as their magical sheath of eyeballs absorbs 1 harm.
Correct.
They will fight back to kick some butt, and 3 + 2 + 2, 7. Just barely squeaking in there with the mixed success.
All right.
So they will swing out with their Thunder Hammer, their divine weapon, which is a 3-harm hand stun holy weapon.
Nice. Let's see. On a 7 to 9, on any success you inflict harm, and 10 plus you choose an extra effect, and a miss you get your butt kicked instead. So with that, he has dealt you harm, you have dealt, well, he tried to do you harm, you have dealt him. You just said how much?
3 harm.
Ooh, that's so many harm. He's looking battered. He's looking mighty battered, but he still is up. And,
Come at me, bro. That's what they say, right?
They say that.
Thank you, disembodied voice.
All right. I think we are going to take this opportunity to re-attack. We've got some more butt kicking to do. So, Bone Crusher is going to turn back to... We're going to just do a quick 2-on-1 here. Turn back to Dawn. And go with Sharp Teeth this time. That is... You don't have armor, right? Oh, actually, Sharp Teeth ignores armor.
Oh, so it
Oh, lovely.
did do a harm to me then.
No, I got you with claws. I'm sorry. So it was just the one.
Yeah, he does not have armor.
Would you like to fight back?
Yeah. I'm looking. Would I be able to use my... I have an ability called Often Overlooked that said when you act all weird to avoid something, roll a plus weird. Did I say I'm doing that to avoid getting attacked? It says on a 10 plus, you're regarded as unthreatening and unimportant. So it would be the unthreatening part of that I'm grasping this particular straw at. Like, I want him to maybe, like, as it spins to me to bite me, like Don is just like looking at the ground and like tossing desiccant on it, like he's like sowing grass seed and like humming to himself. Like I want this thing to spin at me to attack me and be like, oh, this is just some weirdo who accidentally hit me with this stuff.
So let's see. You're trying to, like, deflect attention, correct?
So I would like to basically roll his plus weird to appear to not be a threat so that it decides not to waste its time attacking him as a way to avoid getting bit.
I'll allow it. It's a one-shot. Let's do it.
Yeah. So that is a plus weird. Not a super great roll, but I think my weird is decently high. So that is actually a 10 exactly.
Nice.
With my 8 on the die plus 2. So it says on a 10 plus, you're regarded as unthreatening and unimportant.
All right. So Bone Crusher turns to you with his teeth out, I guess, or in his head, but he's all like, grr.
I think he's just going to like swing around to bite.
Right, exactly.
And he just sees me like I'm just looking down and like muttering to myself and like just spreading the desiccant on the ground like I'm spreading like grass seed.
It's the exact same move that my cat makes when I touch her on the belly. And he sort of goes to attack you, and then sees what you're doing and sort of like does like a not a spit take, but like a double take.
Like a double take.
Yeah, exactly. He does a spit take. He's suddenly drinking soda, and is like, this isn't threatening at all. Turns back to Lee and says, not Lee, yes, Lee, says, more.
All right, well, I think Lee is going to do what Lee is best at and just swing the big old hammer at the big old Fey cap head.
Go ahead, roll to kick some butt.
5, 7, 9. Not quite the full success, just a mixed.
All right, so you're going to do harm to it. It's going to do harm to you. You said 3 again, right?
That is once more 3 with the big ol' hammer.
Yeah, he's looking real rough, team. He's looking not good. And you are going to take a... I'm going to say he's going to come at you with the poleaxe, so that's going to be 2 harm for you.
All right. That's not great, but it's not a death sentence.
Yeah, how are Lee and Don looking?
Don is at 3 harm, so he's 1 away from being unstable.
Great, love it. And Lee is doing okay.
Yeah, just the 2 harm.
Great.
Lee's got magic eyeballs. They'll be fine forever.
I think what's going to happen is he is going to look at you, Dawn, and see these desiccant packets that you're scattering on the ground, and decide, this could be dangerous. You saw you try and throw those at him before. He's feeling a little unstable. He's looking really bad, and he points a finger at you and says, "You will have Oberon to answer to." And pulls in a cloud of darkness around him and disappears. And we're out of combat. We're alive.
What a punk.
Yeah, he's super good at disappearing when he wants to.
Lee, you okay?
Lee will lower themselves to the ground, but still be covered in eyes and holding a giant hammer. And be like, oh, yes, I am slightly harmed, but nothing to worry about. Are you supposed to be bleeding that much?
And he looks at his large gaping axe wound and then looks back at Lee and says, I don't think so. I think I lost a lot of blood. I'm seeing things. You know how when you see double, only I'm seeing like 30 eyes instead of 2. Yeah, I think I'm hurt. I think I'm very hurt.
Let me see if I can do anything to help you with that. Never mind the number of eyes that any of us may see at any given time. And Lee is going to try to lay on hands to heal an injury. Oh, nice. Almost snake eyes. So that is a total of almost boxcars. The opposite of snake eyes.
I was going to say, why are you happy about that?
No, it's a 5 and a 6, plus 1 cool for a total of 12. So
Nice.
on the 10 plus, heal 2 harm and stabilize.
Nice. So I am down to only 1 harm, so I imagine it like kind of heals it up, like stitches it up together. It's like, I imagine like something that in 1 hit does like 1 less than the amount of damage it needs to make you unstable was probably not a pretty hit, but he is definitely doing a lot better after that.
As the wound closes up, it leaves like kind of a scab that it's kind of shaped like an eye. Lee has a normal number of eyes again, I think.
Are they still holding the giant glowing hammer?
Yeah, they still got the big hammer out. Things are dangerous right now.
Yeah. Don will nod at it and go, where'd you get that from?
I always have this. I usually keep it behind my back. And they'll put it behind their back to demonstrate. See? Now you see it?
Question,
now you don't?
is that where Lee normally keeps it?
No, that's a lie.
Okay. I was going to say, because Don does have the passive ability to know when people are lying to him. So he also knew the eye thing was a lie, but I think he's just going to give that a pass. And just say, yeah, behind your back, right. Is the kid still here? And he's going to look around and see if Violet is still there.
Violet is not still here that you can see.
Okay, so she left either when the red cap left or during the fight. At some point, she dipped out too.
Mm-hmm.
That was mean of her.
It was, teenagers. We are going to take this opportunity this much better one to cut to Jerry and Zeke. At the Tilly's house, I assume they're all mopping up toilet water from the kitchen and drinking bad coffee, and just generally rejoicing. For whatever reason.
So one does when you have bad coffee and toilet water in your kitchen.
Zeke was just upstairs. He's just come back downstairs. I don't think you guys have talked about what he's found yet. Unless it was in front of Mrs. Tilly, which would be fair.
Okay. So they just came downstairs. We're still talking.
Correct.
Okay. So like the best, no wait, that's Brixby. The best part of the coffee is when it's got a little bit that you can chew at the end. Thank you for leaving the grits in there.
Well, it's fiber, I guess. Is your partner all right?
Oh, I mean, speaking of fiber, darling, maybe he needs a cup of chewy coffee. Here he is right now. How's your fiber intake, Zeke?
Oh, I take it super seriously, Jerry. That's why I always ask for some of those cardboard mashed potatoes. Anyway, what happened down here? Did the toilet overflow everywhere?
If you'll recall, Jerry, you were attempting to see what was wrong with the broken, I believe, like oven and refrigerator, or oven and coffee maker, something like that. And instead you broke the toilet.
Yeah. Old craftsmen's houses. They put this together when they were still prescribing cocaine medically. So that's probably what happened.
So,
Those 1920s hand-fast constructions, 1909. I don't know. Anyway, how consoled do the parents look at this point?
Yeah.
Did they
They're doing that thing of when you're older and Southern and starting to, well, okay.
Hands on the thighs?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm gonna let you go.
All right, I will. I guess I'll just dump the rest of the coffee on the floor because it's an indistinguishable cup from every. No, I wouldn't. I have much better manners than that. Thank you again for the sensory experience that was this mastication of coffee.
Of course. I'm sorry that we couldn't do better coffee, but everything is... Well, and also my child is gone, so... if there's nothing else, we need to mourn and also figure out a next step.
Nothing like mocking them for the coffee that they served us. So we've ruined their house.
Especially when it's something like Anthony Kiedis is always talking about, dream of coffee mastication.
It's for the red hot chili heads for this podcast.
Zeke would just kind of offer a somber but friendly wave and then make his way out through the flooded kitchen and out of the home, where he would tell Jerry what he found.
I brought them like a morning meatloaf or something like that, right? Like a meatloaf of morning. I feel like if not, we can retcon. We definitely gave them something besides water
A morning
damage.
meat, sure.
Yes. So what took you so long? Did you find anything?
Yeah. As they walk back towards the van again. So, I think that girl was here. I saw some, a trail of that dust that she was leaving, out the window, and a little plastic bracelet. Maybe, I know it's crazy, but I think that little, that picture we saw from the Chiltons, like, I think that's Violet.
And Jerry, you suddenly get an inkling to look at that picture that you took of the picture of Violet.
All right. I look at the picture.
And you can see just really faintly brightly colored little plastic, like she has a, I don't know what you call it, anklet around her ankle that Zeke would recognize matches exactly with the bracelet he found upstairs.
No way.
Wow. Enhance. We just push the
And then look closer at it.
Yes. It looks identical.
Yeah, this is... I don't know why she would come and take Max, but maybe we need to go back to the forest and see if we can't find our friends and find the circle and find Max.
Absolutely. And it is a school night, so we should do it expeditiously.
Oh, yeah, on a school night?
All nights.
So I'm gonna have
Is
y'all.
it the same night? We had a night,
slept,
and this
yeah.
is the next night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's the meatloaf. Yeah.
Yeah, the meatloaf therapy, yeah. So I'm going to have you all pack into the vehicle of choice, whichever one you took here, and meet up with your friends. You know they were headed to the forest. So let's say we all meet up there, because I want this to be the last episode. So we're going to move quickly.
Smash cut, forest.
Smash cut forest. Let's say, I think just the way that time works in this world of my creation, you magically meet up with each other just as everyone's wrapping up, and no one's exploded. Someone is recently healed. Someone has a new scar, maybe.
Cool scar. So we're probably not there looking at a scar just yet, but...
Oh, no, you are. You are seeing that scar.
Okay. So, as the camera zooms out, it is of the scar, and then it is of Don holding his shirt up, pointing to the scar, and we're all just really close to it.
Enhance.
I like to think that his button down and his undershirt are just cut open, he doesn't even need to he got hit in the chest with an axe.
I guess that's fair.
By a giant fairy monster.
There's just the stump of the tie that was cut in half.
Yeah, the tie is cut in half. His whole Richard Belzer outfit is just cut with a slash all the way down to the belt line.
But ocular injuries aside, we found something.
Yeah, I think we found some stuff too. Violet talked about, she said there's a deal with Oberon. Apparently the town had to give him a kid every so many years. That's apparently where the boy went, and it's where they went back to too, and I don't know if we know how to follow him. We did hurt that big guy, that Bone Crusher, pretty bad. Was it Bone Crusher?
Bone Crusher.
Is that what he said his name was?
Yeah, Bone Crusher.
Yeah.
We crushed some of his bones, probably.
Well, I'm glad you're both all right. It's he's a difficult tangerine to tango with. But yeah, I didn't find it. Zeke found some things at Max's room.
Yeah, you said Violet, which is wild. That confirms our own investigation. Violet might look like she's just a kid, but she was taken 40 years ago, almost to the day. Paris Chilton told me herself. And I think she was in the room, took Max, and I guess we've got to find Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that name didn't really ring a bell for me. Does it ring a bell for either of you? And also, does that mean what, Max is going to be turned into one of these things? Violet was a normal kid?
Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem good, though.
Did we ever roll on if we knew Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
I remember Lee and I rolled because I remember Don didn't know anything. I can't remember what Lee's roll was.
Yeah, I don't.
But I know
you rolled
Don
to help,
had
and it
not heard
didn't
the
work
name.
out.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
So I'm going to say Jerry and Zeke can roll. And I think that'd be probs and investigate a mystery.
Okay, sounds good to me. So that is a shap. I roll 2d6. Just like the acid damage. Okay, I got a 7. Wait, no, that's not true. I add some stuff to that. I got a 9.
Ooh.
Nice. 7 to 9 will give you a mixed success. You can hold one. Ask what happened here, what sort of creature is it, what can it do, what can hurt it, where did it go, what was it going to do, and what is being concealed here. So these are all questions about Oberon, correct? Yes.
Yes. What sort of creature is it?
Oberon, you know from your studies, your time in this world, just your experience has told you that Oberon is indeed the Fey King. He has some words about him that I can read. Wait for it.
I mean, Jerry's familiar because of her yearly rendition of A Midsummer's Night's Dream, where she does a little... Yeah, but anyway, for everybody else who hasn't attended one of her performances.
Oberon the Fey King rules over the realm of Fey and is probably tall, who can say.
And he's handsome, but very dangerous. But yeah, that's like a fairy royalty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll roll just to see if we can learn anything else. That is an 11.
An 11 will tell you that this is the Fey King, Oberon, from the land of Fey. Do you want to ask a different question?
I mean, yeah. I was asking what question. I need to roll to see if I can ask any questions. I was going to ask the same one.
You can ask 2 questions, I think, with an 11.
Yeah. So, what can it do?
Oh, man. What can't it do?
Okay. And
well, you know from Violet, or rather the team sort of knows after you put all your stories together, you know that he is able to grant gifts to the town, prosperity, as it were, a legally distinct McDonald's called McDowell's, I think. He's been doing that since the town's inception, presumably, which is, I think we said 1615 in the first one. I don't remember what it was exactly, but something like that. He also commands an army of Fae. So you get the sense maybe it wouldn't be a good idea to take him on directly because he's got a whole bunch of guys under his belt. You can also tell Bone Crusher what to do.
okay. I think I have to ask the. Yeah. It doesn't sound like I can take it on. We can take him on directly, but what can hurt it maybe diplomatically, or like what can hurt it in a way? How do we wrap this up? I'm just kidding.
Let's go. Sure.
How do we
okay.
make Oberon happy?
You know that.
Yeah, like, can we renegotiate the deal with them? Like, instead of stealing children, maybe you plant a tree.
How about a puppy?
How
Not
about
my
Beeloaf?
puppy. Oh,
that will give you both weaknesses. One of which is winter, which is not super helpful because it's June right now. But you also know his word. He is weak to his own word. If he breaks a promise, he is in trouble. Granted, he knows that and so tries not to make promises. But you get the sense based on this what you know of this supposed contract / bargain that Violet mentioned. He's the kind of guy who's open to deals. It has to be a good deal, but he can be bargained with. You have to, talk to him first. He's not physically here.
box seats at Midsummer's Night's Dream every year.
It's the VIP after show and everything.
I wonder, and maybe not, maybe it would be stupid, but would there be any record of this in Town Hall?
No, that's a legitimate question because that is like,
Yeah.
I feel like we have two approaches. It is either like find his extant word and see if he is like, we can find any like possibility that we can hold him to something that he hasn't done, or parlay. Right. So is it like a verbal contract, like a handshake thing?
You don't know.
That's. What time is it?
Probably like 11 a.m. It's pretty early.
Okay, cool.
So, if he did make this contract, do we think there would be some kind of record? Like, I doubt it'd be written in a way that says we're giving the Fairy King our children, but maybe there's something in the records if we know the date, which we should if we know when Violet was taken. Maybe we can find something hidden somewhere. There's always stuff written, either redacted or code or something. Maybe we can find something at the record hall.
We also have to think about who would be the, I think the term is promisee in a contract. In this instance, like, who is the party that is making, is it the mayor at the time? Or some other authority in town 40 years ago?
Well, it might be that the deal is older than 40 years. That was just
Yeah.
the most recent.
Sorry, I mean, like, that would be our only link to someone that may be alive that is fulfilled or engaged in this contract.
That's right. You people don't live very long, do you?
But, I mean, it could be at the town hall or in some other records. I do have a lore library, but I don't think it helps this. What do you think, Zeke?
I don't know. It might just be... I guess it's worth a shot. Maybe we could smash cut to the town hall or something. If the mayor's there, we can maybe even look at records. Some of us look for records. Some of us talk to the mayor.
Better go to the forest, right?
Dormammu, we've come to bargain.
No. So the way they keep like randomly disappearing into the forest, like, is there anything we can roll after? Like, it's been like what, 3 times now we've seen them kind of just vanish. Is there anything we can roll to, like, did it look like there was anything they did, like anything they said or hand signs or anything they did that when they disappeared into blackness like that we think we could maybe like try to figure out how to get to wherever they're going so we can try to see this guy in person? Like, does it look like I'm trying to think, is there anything we can roll to see if like we could copy anything that we saw either Violet or Bone Crusher do when they like teleported back away to the fairy realm or whatever they did?
Let's see. Someone give me an investigate a mystery roll.
I'm happy to help
How
someone.
is my sharp? I have a +2 to sharp. Does anybody
Same.
else have that high?
I have a 2 as well.
Just a one.
So I'll allow a
help
roll
is
and a help.
done with cool, right? Yeah. Which my cool is only is a -1, so I wouldn't be good helping.
Same.
Could we separately investigate a mystery?
Yeah, I'll allow that.
And have someone help. Yeah, so like we can each roll, and then the two of them can each do a help on one of us.
Yeah, I could do a cool roll. Definitely not a sharp
Yeah,
roll.
because that'd be good for a help. Yeah. That is only a 5 on the die, so that is 7 before any potential help.
I have a 9 on the die for an 11 before help.
I got a 9 to help, but I don't know who I'm helping.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's helping who.
Yeah, I mean, can he retroactively say he wants to help the person that got higher?
Yeah, it's a one shot.
I mean, okay. So that makes it 1 higher.
I'll
So
allow
it's
it.
a 12.
So that's a 12 for
Deserve
one
me.
investigate and a 7,
Yeah.
8 for the was a second help done? Did we do a second help? Jeff, did you help?
I have a -1.
No, because I don't
I'm-
think Zeke. Yeah,
Okay.
Zeke doesn't have a good cool.
I'm more
Yeah.
likely to make it worse.
The only one of us that has high cool is Lee.
Okay. So that's going to be a 7 for one help and a 12 for the other.
7 for one of them. Yeah, and a 12
7,
for the other.
yeah, sorry. 7 for one investigate. So that's going to be a total of 3 questions you can ask. About how to pursue Violet and Bone Crusher.
Yeah, like if we want to try to go wherever they keep going to try to maybe see this guy in person.
Yes.
Yeah, I think some question relating to how do we get there?
I'm going to use the old classic, what is being concealed here? And
Yes.
say, as you are standing here kind of deliberating on what to do, you suddenly hear like a faint, like a wind chime sort of sound. And that sound ringing off to your right, and seems as you sort of like turn in that direction, it gets a little louder.
Anyone else hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, what is that?
What are those chimes is not one of the questions on Investigate the Mystery, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What can it do?
Yes, I think so. What can it do? Or wait, I turned to the right. Is anything happening when we look right? Or is it just...
You see
is there-
some movement in the trees.
Maybe we should go over there. It's really
Um,
just only...
And I remember
Crispy
you
and
holding 2
Jerry is
questions.
Yes. Which, do we want to ask them right now, or do we want to hang on to them and progress a little bit?
Yeah, like maybe we follow that and save our 2. We can do that, right? We can bank our 2 questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it would make sense then to maybe walk in the direction we hear the chimes.
It's chime time.
Right, as you start to move, the chimes are getting louder. And if you follow them for a little bit, you soon come into a sort of a clearing where you see that stone circle you were looking for. It looks relatively unchanged in the daylight, but somehow you can see a faint shimmer in the air in the exact center of it. And I will let you adapt these questions because they're a little strange for this one.
Like, what is it going to do to us when we use it? Or like, how do we use it? Or I don't know.
how do we use it? I'm going to say is fair and valid. And Lee, this time you get sort of an inkling. And a voice, as if from above, says, use big magic. Use big magic. Which there is a move called big magic.
Oh, dang.
Love it.
It seems we may need to do some magical work with teamwork as well. Teamwork is magic, and magic will be done with teamwork.
Yes.
Some say that's what makes the dream work.
I can try to help.
Yeah, I'm completely out of my depth with this magic nonsense, but yeah, I can try to help too.
Yeah. For listeners, use big magic is for when you want to use greater than magic effect. So there's a move called use magic.
Yeah.
Use big magic is like an advanced version of that. So you tell the keeper what you want to do, and the keeper may require one of many things, such as spending a long time to get the research, to research the magic ritual, experimenting with the spell. You'll need some rare and strange ingredients. The spell will take a long time to cast. You'll need a lot of people. The spell will need to be cast at a particular place or time. You need magic. It'll have a specific side effect. So I'm going to say you're going to need at least 3 people for this, and the spell will need to be cast right here in front of the circle.
And magic uses weird, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll try to help. Wait, what do you have to hit to help?
so-
7?
Yeah. Yes, although 7 opens you up to more danger. And actually, you meet the requirements for this one, so I don't think you have to roll. It just works. So, Lee and company, tell me what you are doing when you cast big magic.
Well, I think, like, with Lee's normal sort of interdimensional stuff where, you know, suddenly they're there or suddenly they're holding something that they didn't have before, it's all normally very seamless. But I think in this case, since it's not the kind of travel that they're used to making, it's much more of like a concerted effort to like actually like pull open almost like the pages of a book, but instead of a book it's like the walls of reality. So they kind of are like reaching in, and their fingers will like disappear into this space, and like as they're pulling on it they need to draw from the energy or the sort of vibes of the others in the party in order to anchor themselves in this world and form a kind of conduit between this one and whatever is on the other side.
Great. So you all see Lee do this little bit of, or big bit of magic. And as he's working, a portal seems to open up in the center of this circle. And you can see through it. It looks like, at first glance, it looks like you're just seeing the other side of the circle. Like you could just see more forest. But as you watch, the colors begin to warp and shift. And like all of space kind of pulses with this bright light. And you realize what you're seeing is not your own world, but in fact a different world. And as you're watching, Violet sort of walks across the field and like pokes her head out. She's like, "What are you doing here?"
Hey, funny running into you. Your parents are really sad, but maybe we can talk about that later. We wanted to talk to your boss, Oberon. See if we can make a deal.
What do you mean my parents are sad?
Oh, I think that's going to run us into at least one more app.
Look, they wrote this really sad note. Yeah, you can just read it off screen.
Yeah. Hey, can you like take me to your leader? Always wanted to say that. And I could roll to manipulate someone.
Please do.
That is an 8.
Great. On a 7 to 9, they'll do it, but only if you do for them something for them right now to show you mean it. What were you going to say?
I was going to say he would offer her the bracelet. Say, I think you dropped this in Max's room.
And she'll take it and look at it. And say, I'll take you to him if you promise to tell me about my parents. Later, it doesn't have to be now.
Yeah, deal.
And she'll just turn without saying a word and start walking. And as she's walking, like each footfall sort of like brings up, like she's walking on top of grass, but as she's walking, each footfall turns into a like cobblestone pathway, and then the cobblestones give way to like pink flowers, peonies, in fact, which is a reference to episode 3. You'll get it once you've listened. And the trees sort of move around her. They seem to be like shifting out of the way, and instead, as if like you're zooming in on something really fast, a giant sort of mansion-y looking castle, postmodern Gothic Victorian style, appears, looms in the distance. And without having taken many steps at all, it seems like you're suddenly there, standing outside of this giant castle. And Violet will nod and say, okay, we're here. And as she starts to turn away, like she's done her job, a tall, androgynous-looking person in long white robes emerges with Max in their arms. Well, hello. I've been waiting for you.
Sorry, which one of us are we waiting for?
All of you? None of you?
Oh. That seems a little contradictory, but like, that's cool. Hello, are you King Oberon?
I am.
Zeke will bow a little awkwardly.
He waits. They wait expectantly.
Surprisingly graceful and deep curtsy.
You honor me. Thank you. More than that town of yours has done recently.
Classic handfast, am I right? Oof. Yeah, I'll be honest, not a leader in the town, just like a concerned citizen. Totally didn't even know about the deal.
Well, knowing about the deal was only a very small part of the deal. The people that I made the deal with agreed that you would be carried on in perpetuity. And yet I've received no child. It's been 40 years.
Wow. Yeah, I'd be pretty miffed about that too, you know. Do you have like a copy of the deal in written form that we could just like peruse to make sure we're holding up our town's end of the bargain?
Of course. And he waves a hand, and a scroll sort of like does that thing of like it appears at shoulder level and then just unrolls onto the ground, and it's like several feet long. Tiny print.
Yeah, so Zeke would take about 9 or 10 hours to come over it. I can just do that in real time.
Yes. Is this a mystery to investigate, perhaps? Like, is the secret to how tender the McDowell steamed hams somewhere inside of this contract?
What exactly are you looking for?
Probably not that specifically. We need to finish this episode.
Yeah, we're looking for a loophole, I think, but we're not going to say that to them. I think Don will step forward and he'll kind of bow and say, Lord Oberon, Don Bellwether, so have you had any contact with the town since this contract was originally signed to maybe see why they haven't been filling out their end?
Of course not. I just sent Bone Crusher and Violet, and that was that.
I see. And he would like to look over this contract and see if there's any sort of, what do they call it? Like a length of time that you have to act on something or it's voided type thing. Like there's something on there that says like, oh, if you haven't,
Limitation.
if you haven't been given a kid in 5 years and you haven't gone and checked on it, then it's all null and void. Like if there's anything like that in there.
So you start looking over this contract. It's a lot of words. It was also written in like the Vitch times, so it's all pilgrim speak. You don't see anything necessarily, but while Oberon is standing there watching you, it's like, did you really come all this way for a child?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
This boy, aside from apparently being successful enough in business to carry around cards, has parents who love him and miss him.
And
Do you know love,
Yeah.
my lord?
of course, my subjects adore me.
It's similar to that.
Interesting. Perhaps we can make a deal. It has been many years, and I grow tired of rearing these children. What can you offer me in their place? It's a net flesh net.
Science box seats to meet somebody's stream.
Therapy
Oh, my
meatloaf?
Lord Oberon. Can you imagine a world where the meats are stable on the shelves? Oh, I don't know what to say.
I mean, you can't just leave it that open-ended, can you? You gotta tell us what kind of things your kingdom here needs. Like, why kids in the first place?
Oh, they're my subjects.
Why not cats?
I don't like cats.
But I mean, really? I always thought that they came from here specifically.
Nothing to do with them. No, thank you.
How do you roll to sense motive?
Um,
Okay, so if you want to
You,
cats,
Yeah. I was thinking, what if we ask them, like, instead of, like, kidnapping children, like, what if they just, like, went around town asking people if anyone wanted to be part of the fairy court instead? Like,
Well-
had it be voluntary.
we have a banked question. And yes, we could definitely find burners and send them to Oberon later.
you do
But,
have a banked
yeah, we have
question.
a banked question. So
Yeah.
maybe it would be good to see. I mean, I hate to keep harping on this one because it really does feel like the best question, but like, what's being concealed here? Is there something that maybe, is there an obvious desire that he has outside of rearable children?
Let's see what the notes say.
Maybe not so obvious.
He seems to like being adored. We could have an annual poetry contest to who can write the best like sonnet of adoration to Oberon.
Odes to Oberon.
yeah.
Oh God,
Ode
wait,
to
Brixby. Ode, yeah, no,
Brixby
yeah.
shows up out of nowhere.
I don't know why. There is just a singularity
Best
between these
wizard.
two characters. The voices are too similar. Yes.
Yeah, you get the sense
is
that
funny.
his pride is important to him. He's a guy who likes being worshipped. So if you can get more of that going.
Well,
It's been a long night.
I would say we could have a Midsummer's Night's Festival where the denizens of Handfast recognize the our Fey patrons. And, we can masks and all the other things that they would do at those times and jaunts through the woods. And, if someone goes missing, then who's to say? But just no more kids.
You suggest another sacrifice?
More of just a veneration, adulation every year, and maybe even a permanent likeness in meatloaf that is then encased in epoxy. I don't know what else I can offer. I don't have
loaf.
Epoxy loaf. That's what we're known for. Handfast. As well as your own novelty hole at Freya's Fjord. Golf. It's a golf place, right?
Yep.
It's like a miniature golf place?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
It's the smallest golf, which is the most honorable kind of golf, as I understand it.
It'll be called Holberon. Soul. No, we're still workshopping it. There's no bad ideas in a brainstorm. But look, what we've got laid out here are, how about multiple days of revelry?
Multiple days of revelry.
Yes, like a fair where it's like a whole renaissance of adoration.
Interesting. And this would be instead of the children.
Yes, and we would thin the veil. We would decorate our world to resemble yours.
This would be done annually?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Human ears, too.
Yes, every summer. And definitely never in the winter, but only in the summer.
Ah, it's my favorite season.
Oh, yeah, it's the best season.
Yeah. Everybody loves the summer.
Interesting. We shall consider things on a trial basis. I will release this child to you, and the town will hold its first days of revelry immediately. Should I find it to my liking, you may have no more children stolen from you.
Oh, benevolent King Oberon, your kindness is only overshadowed by your majesty. If we could just ask but a day or two to prepare, we don't want to offer you a festival of, just the best we could do at the time. We want to make sure that it's truly impressive as best as we can.
Very well. I understand.
3 days hence.
3 days hence. And we'll set
That's
the
good,
child
then.
down.
Then it won't be a school night.
Indeed. The Fairy King Festival.
The Fairy
Still
King
workshopping
Festival. No. Leave it as it is.
Indeed. And, we will, we'll sell turkey legs and lots of bags for your dice.
Shelf-stable turkey legs.
Of course.
Only the most, of course. And perhaps you will walk amongst the revelers, O king.
Indeed,
masked.
I shall. So you have a child back.
Child acquired.
Does he give us something to sign to make this new?
He waves a
Deal
hand and
like-
says, my people will be in touch.
'Cause it's a trial, you know.
As I, the player, have read too much Dresden Files to be like, I ain't walking out of here with a verbal agreement with a fairy.
He gives you a post-it that says, I owe you one non-stolen child. And that is good for as long as you like. And also as long as the days of revelry are still good.
I think
So,
We probably should have tried to negotiate to get Violet back too, but oh well.
What are you going to do?
I think Lee will stash
She's
their giant hammer and pull out from the extra dimensional space stack of business cards and leaf through them in search of an ultra rare foil business card, just like the most collectible of all collectible business cards, and hold that out to Oberon and say, if you're ever in need of any real estate, feel free to look me up. I will set you up with the sweetest of deal, the most granitest of all counters. The sky's the limit.
Fireplace?
Gas fireplace or regular?
Wood burning.
Oh, yes.
He takes the card. I am gonna.
So-
Go ahead.
I think it's time that we go back and we convene an emergency town meeting, ringing the bell, the central bell of Handfast that is only rung in times of
Bring an
past
emergency.
calamity, like our own Great Emu War, just like the Australians. But we won,
Yeah, it's
as well as
it's at the tavern, and oh gosh, I can't remember the bartender's name. Eli is swinging on a rope like Quasimodo, just like ringing out the bells. And there are doves flying everywhere, and people are rushing from their homes to this family tavern where you've all convened, wearing medals like in the end of Star Wars.
Which I assume with Max back, we've got their attention.
Oh yeah, you come back holding Max, and what's his face? Turner is briefly like, and then he's like, you know what? It's probably fine.
get this kid a stiff drink. Come on.
And that kid
He's
a
been
tall
through a
boy.
lot.
Milk.
Lords and ladies, fair, hear my voice across the air. We've come to you here with Max, who is currently wrecking 3 6-packs, and we are here to say that today is Oberon Day. So come and say hooray. And okay. Are there anybody else who maybe actually majored in English or something want to help me out here?
So I have that one called See It All Fits Together, which lets me use my Sharp, which is a +2 instead of Charm when I manipulate someone. Would we consider like convincing the town to do this to be manipulate someone?
Yeah, manipulate them so hard.
Okay. Then, Don can roll. So he's going to step up and he's going to come up with a the Fairy King is going to kidnap all of our children if we don't do this reason for us to be having to hold an emergency festival. Just trying to think how he would say it, especially with the See It All Fits Together. So he's going to say, so it turns out the reason that all of the crazy things that have been going on in town, that boy Max going missing, all of the strange weather, the electronics all failing. It turns out it's caused by like this crazy interference in the magnetosphere. There's all kinds of stuff you can look up on online if you know where to look. Just talk to me later and I'll show you the sites I have. But
Swamp gas.
the
Swamp
best
gas.
way that we can combat it is to kind of get everybody together outside, making a lot of noise, doing a lot of activities. It breaks up all of this wacky magnetism. And, you know, I figured this out, and I was talking to Jerry, and I was talking to Lee, and I was talking to Zeke, and we think that rather than just like getting everybody outside and like doing jumping jacks or something, why not make it a festival? Make it a celebration of like the town's history and just, you know, turn it into a whole big thing. And obviously with everything getting worse, again, like it got so bad that poor Max had scrambled up his brains and he wandered off. So figured the sooner the better, right? So let's get partying. It's going to roll a see it all fits together roll. And that is a 3 and a 5, so that is an 8, which I think when I say that, let's see, roll a sharp. So that is a 10.
Nice.
And is anybody rolling to help on this? And by anybody, I mean the only person with cool is Lee saying anything to go along with this.
I don't think you want Lee to say anything in this particular.
Yeah. I mean, Lee could float up into the sky and be like, oh no, it's the magnetism.
And the townspeople rejoiced. On a 10, you got that. So everyone's kind of quiet for a little bit and like looks at each other and is, what? But then instead, 3 cheers for Max and the tall boys. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! And they throw Max into the air, and someone gets a handful of confetti.
Mm-hmm.
There's just much rejoicing. Immediately, the town starts to get to work on their days of revelry. Oberon Day, King Oberon Day, whatever we've decided to call it. I've totally forgotten. I'll check my notes later.
Festival.
Fairy King Festival.
Fairy King Festival.
The Fairy King Fest.
FKF.
That's it. Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have the alliteration in there.
And
Got the epoxied meatloaf effigy going up at one point. It's
of
The
course,
children
Max
are
goes on
helping.
to form a ska band, Max and the Tall Boys.
Okay, before I wrap up now, Zeke or Lee, did you have anything you wanted to add? Magnets? Tall boys?
3 cheers for Max.
yeah.
Max is now the mayor.
Yeah.
Unseen chorus from the skies calls down cheers for Max.
Lee just says condos for everyone, and suddenly Handfast is just
Throwing
filled with
business
condos.
cards.
Just making
Just
it rain
throwing
business cards.
condos. Literal condos falling on people in the crowd.
People are screaming, running, hiding. The days of revelry have shifted fast into days of terror.
I could see Oberon being into this.
The dark
though.
Right, no,
times
I think
began
it works
that
out
day.
for him.
Yeah.
And Violet stands in the background with her hands thrown to the sky, laughing maniacally. She seems to have forgotten about her parents.
She's happy.
We'll circle back to her next time.
Yeah, and this in the sequel. Yeah, we technically left Bone Cruncher alive, so Bone Crusher, Bone
Bonesaw.
Bone guy.
Yeah. He's definitely going to be helping out with the next Midsummer's Night stream. He will be my Titania
Aw,
to my Oberon.
beautiful.
And now until the break of day, through this house each fairy stray. I looked it up.
Nice.
That is one of the last things that Oberon says. Thanks, Internet.
I think that's where we close. That was beautiful. Thank you, Zach. And thank you, listeners, for letting me traipse through this with scant rules and just kind of figure it out. Great times. Love to say this is my third time DMing a game and my first time for a recorded audience. So please don't be mean to me in the comments. Unless, I guess that's fine. Be mean. You can just leave all the emojis you
Don't
need
be
to.
mean.
Oh, don't be mean. It's been said here.
That's the rule. You can't be mean.
Can't be mean.
That's it.
It's part of the
No
contract
goo
with
tubes
Oberon.
be
if
mean.
you're mean. Unless you don't like goo tubes,
And then
goo
so many
tubes
goo
if you're
tubes.
mean.
All right. Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Max.
Good night.
Good night, tall
Good night,
boys.
Mayor Max.
Mayor
King
Max.
Max.
Good night,
Good
Oberon.
night, Handfast. Good night, Oberon. Good night, Max.
Who
Good night,
amongst
Town
us
of
has had a
Handfast.
better story than Max the tall boy? It's like the end of Game of Thrones. Max is just all right. I'm recording right now too. Recording.
Thing.
Recording.
Raging.
Waveforms. Waveforms.
Now recording.
Wait, you guys
Now
were
recording.
Good thing I'm so ready to play.
waveforms.
Tell us a story about monsters
Come
this
on,
week.
kitty. Okay, come on.
Bring back my red cap.
Bone
Didn't even
Crusher.
hear me.
Want to remind people that Bone Crusher, again, was a popular rapper in the mid-2000s.
Thank you for your service.
But,
Wait,
his
we're recording?
signature look was also pretty intense.
Did he wear a red cap?
No, I mean, I could probably... I could trust that Giroux could put one on there pretty easily.
Does he just look like Randy Savage's character from the first Spider-Man?
That's Bonesaw.
Bonesaw's ready! Yeah, hold on, but Zach isn't because he's posting the look.
Oh, that's the only good reason to not clap.
Oh, you mean like his actual look? I thought
Bone-
you meant like his outfit or something. He
No,
just
not
has
his
a very
vibe.
intense
He's got a
look.
very intense
Yeah.
look that he does where he opens his eyes wide when he's also shouts attention or 10 hut. I can't really tell a lot in his songs. All right.